All right, here's a DIY fix. If you have a Bosch dishwasher like we do, and we love it. It is nice and quiet because we have this open architecture going on. But one thing highly annoying that happened just after a year was the detergent dispenser. It's the weirdest design, but this guy goes like this. So you put the little soap thing in there and you click and it locks in place. Then what happens is after a rinse cycle, there's a motor in there, a little servo motor that pops it open. And this little arm kind of actuator thing goes boop. And that pops this open like that. And then so after the rinse cycle in here, this guy falls to the base and then it starts washing and using that detergent, obviously, to clean your dishes, which again, isn't too bad when it works, and then it did break. So other people have said, oh, well, you need to make sure it's clean, that nothing hangs on here. So for those of you that fill it with just the powder type stuff that isn't encapsulated, I could see that happening more often. But in this case, I identified it down to the motor itself. And this is that little motor, or servo. I don't think it's really a motor. I don't know what this is called. But what it is, it gets an electrical charge just enough to pulse this thing, and this guy gets magnetized, and it pulls that part of the actuator. Now here's the part. I couldn't find just this motor to replace. And I've since replaced it, and it now works. So it's definitely this was bad. So I had to buy this whole component. You can see now this is on this side. Of course, I did not film me removing this, but let me tell you, there are screws all along so that you've got the from here down and from there to there is for the lower portion. And then these other will be slightly longer screws for the upper portion. Now, what I did, and these are a kind of a hex style. So what I did is I just kind of like laid down and undid the whole thing. And then as it kind of was coming apart, there are wires connected in here. There's like, this is connected to like 3 wires, one on either side over here, and one kind of lower in the middle, which powers that guy right there. There's a clamp that goes on that, okay? And this is the part that's exposed on that side, and this is the part where you access the motor. This thing sits right about here. And then all you need to do is peel back this tape, and then that gains you access to this part right here. Now let me pop in the motor and show you. All right, so I have the motor just kind of like resting in here, but it just clicks in place. And this guy is just loosely, see, that just comes out. But again, it's enough for that thing to magnetize and pull it back, which then pulls this guy. You heard that? It just does this little movement, that's it. That tiny little movement is what opens the door. You can see it from this end. So what we'll do, I'm gonna simulate it. I'm just gonna pull back on that so you can see at the same time. So here we're gonna pull back slightly. See that? That's how that works. So again, going back to the motor, what you'll wanna do when you're pulling it or placing it, all it's held in by is a firm connection and this upper plastic tab. That's it. But before you put it in place, you wanna insert this guy, put that in place. Okay, so that's in there like that. Right, so when you set it in there, you just wanna make sure that it's over that plastic knob piece, and then you'll just push down to get the friction to have this thing lock in place. This is right where it needs to be right here. We'll push down. There we go, see? Unfortunately, like I said, I couldn't buy just this motor for whatever reason. So I had to buy this. I'll leave the part on a link in the description. There you go. That's a lot cheaper still. It was under 50 bucks or around 50 bucks to replace that motor, but now it works. I tested it out and everything was good. All right, hope this helps you. Thank you, bye.